there that tune in and view the show on Facebook. If you go to YouTube, Standing for the People, hopefully that'll show up tonight as well. But our radio listening audience, you've been very lively with this program, and I hope that we continue in that vein. You know, we talk about voter registration and how important it is for us as a community, which it is very important. And we try not to forget the cost and the price that was paid for us as African Americans to be able to determine our destiny, our environment, our community, and our destiny. And one thing that I keep putting out here, and some of you are beginning to hear me, when we start talking about government in Jackson, when we start talking about government in Hinds County, when we start talking about who's running and making the decisions of our public schools, I'm talking about city and county. And right now we are about 40% of the population in Mississippi, which means we should have a dramatic impact on the legislature and the state positions. We got to start thinking in terms of not they and us. Because right now, when we start talking about Jackson and Hinds County and our public school system, it's basically us. We are the government. We're the ones in these situations who establish how the money is going to be spent, what kind of rules we're going to follow, and how they're going to be enforced. Now, you know, the state always have an impact on statutes and those matters because all the rest of them are a product of the state. But we're talking about $1 billion that's spent here in Hinds County, which includes Jackson and our public school, every year. Now, I don't want people to get that confused with $1 billion is raised every year. I'm saying $1 billion, along with being raised every year, is spent every year. And in that $1 billion, we have control of it. When I'm saying we, I'm not saying that with any negativity. I'm just saying the fact of the matter here. We as African Americans have control of it. And unfortunately, for the last almost 30 years, we've been still basically left out of the process of determining how the money was going to be spent. I'm talking about we put people in office who really didn't have a plan for Jackson, didn't have a plan for Hinds County that will benefit all of us. And when I say all of us, I mean everybody who's living in the city and everybody who's living in the county. I'm not talking about just black folks, because we make up the vast majority, but there's white folks that live in, and others, as we see, go to any of the convenience stores and see. They're here. So what we have to do is we have to learn how to be intelligent in our selections. Because I say it over and over and over again, we're not dumb and we're not stupid. We've been ignorant, but ignorance can be cured with proper information. Ignorance can be cured. I know that's one of the reasons that the majority who still seem to have that same old attitude. You see, they just brought the vice president of the United States here with Charlie Kirk's wife to continue to promote that ideology that he was spewing. So when I say the majority of them, obviously they still there with that mindset. But we have to learn to deal intelligently with that. There are those who really don't want the history of our people to be understood. That's why they can keep saying all these slanderous statements, all this ignorant disinformation. But see, you know how things are? Because there's a lot of people out there beginning to learn now, but the perception was it was black folks who were getting all the tax benefits when it came to public assistance. I'm here to tell you there's never been a program instituted in this country solely for the benefit of black people. And somebody can show me where that I'm wrong in that. And you know, you go back and start talking about 40 acres and a mule, that never took place. But they're beginning to see now, oh, white folks get food stamps. Oh, white folks are getting Obamacare. They don't want to call it that. Now that the shutdown let help them understand who getting it. But see, they're able to keep spewing all this disinformation because, as they say, the state is saying, the legislature over there, they don't want any subjects taught in our schools that would be divisive, which they mean history of African Americans in America and what they have contributed to this country. They consider that as being divisive. Or the history of Africa in and of itself. They want to consider that being divisive so they can keep saying these slanderous remarks and statements that they make. That they thought black folks were the only ones getting free lunches at school. They thought black folks were the only ones getting EBT cards. And they're finding out, Trump was helping them find out different. That wasn't the intention, I'm sure. But he helped them to find out different. So we got to understand we're fighting a battle now on both ends. We're fighting a battle on both ends. We're fighting a battle against that white mindset that feel like they're superior just because they're white. You listen to someone like Charlie Kirk. If I was getting ready to get on an airplane and I saw the pilot was black, I have second thoughts. I might not want to get on the plane. Here's a man who barely finished high school, dropped out of college after one semester, and he's questioning the ability of a person who's a trained pilot because he's black. This is the type of attitude that they want to prevail. But since we're in charge, our schools should be teaching history of our people. They want to call it divisive because our children need to learn that there's never been a war in this country. We just got through with Veterans Day. There's never been a war in this country. No war, including the Revolutionary War, that black folks didn't fight in. They want to think that even during the Civil War, that black people just sat around on the plantations waiting to see who would win the war. That's the type of history they want to promote, which is totally false. They don't want our children and all the rest of the world to understand that before the Civil War was over, the Union Army was occupied mainly by ex-slaves who ran away from the plantations when the armies got close enough to join forces with the Union Army to fight. You know, I believe that a lot of our children who walk in the street today trying to still prove to the world that they're not cowards because nothing in their history teaches them otherwise, and they hear all this slanderous talk that downgrade their ancestry. See, but they want to say that when you talk fast, that's hate speech. What's hateful about that? Knowing the truth. What's hateful about it? What's divisive about that? They teach us about George Washington. From the time we were able to go to kindergarten, he never told a lie, they told us. They teach us about everybody else. But they don't want to teach us about what African Americans have contributed to the development of this country in every field. Every field. To teach that in our schools is divisive. This is where we got to understand when we are in control. As the great spokesman and champion in our history, Booker T. Washington said, put down your bucket where you are. That is, we in control of Jackson. Jackson should prosper under us if we put the right people in office. We're the majority in Hinds County. Hinds County should prosper under us, for everybody, if we put the right people in office. Our public schools should be prospering. If our school board and our superintendents or whatever doing so well, why are all the white folks fleeing? Why in a city with 33,000 youth between the ages of 5 and 18, 33,000, the census said, that we have in the city right now, and only 17,000 are in our public schools. What the rest of them at? What the rest of them? Somebody called in a while back that our children are walking the street. Of course they walking the street. You're closing all the schools. Where else they gonna go? This comes down to us being intelligent voters. And one of the factors that you can look at, you know, when we're going to put these people in these offices, where have they been? Where did they come from? Do you know them from anywhere in the community? Have they done anything? Have they shown themselves? Have they been involved? We got people who go out here and find money to bag them, and most of them don't even know who the heck they are. Sometimes never even seen them before. But they got a plan, according to the ones who back them. And then when we get in office, we say, where's the plan? Where's the plan? For the last 28 years, we say, what was the plan? We talking facts here. We always talk facts. And as I say, you know, I got one of my good friends here this evening, Brother Larry White. We're going to talk about voter registration. I want to hear your input out there, because it is so very important. We need to be able to show the world that we as African Americans can be in charge and things prosper. Things prosper. And to stop putting people in these positions who their main goal is to get rich themselves and their friends. Now, if we've seen anything different in the last 28 years or so, please tell me. But when your questions come in, I just introduce you, Brother Larry. Tell the audience who you are here. And we're going to talk about voter registration and why it's so important here.
Thank you, Judge. It's awfully nice of you to have me on your show tonight. I'm tickled pink. I don't know if you can see it in my face tonight. I'm tickled
Yeah,
pink.
well, you know, now you get me to joking now, man. You know, people can see you.
But Judge, I'm awfully.
All jokes aside, go ahead, brother.
I'm awfully thankful to be here with you and talk about one of my pet peeves, as most people know. And voter registration is so important, Judge. We can't stress it enough. It's very important to register to vote in order to be able to vote. Now, here in Hinds County, a person has to be a registered voter in order to vote. He has to have an acceptable photo ID. He also must be older, 18 years or older, prior to election day. If he's 17 years old, then of course, if he turning 18 by election day, he can register to vote and live here in Hinds County.
Now, with that being said, let me take this caller here.
Go
I
ahead.
have a question for you. Go ahead, caller. You're on there.
Hello, thank you, Ali.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you taking my call. I tried to beat your first call in, so I spent a little time, being a bit more clear in what I be hoping to express. You speak about the history now. I know you qualified, being that you were very much involved in the civil rights movement.
Yes, sir.
So was I.
Yes, sir. You are,
Look back
brother.
at the time, speaking about history, I recall some of those senators, Coleman, and we had representatives, no matter which party they were in. Neither one of them, back in the day, would vote like a lapdog for president of any other party if they can deprive Mississippians, black and white, of food stamps, of food, of health care, just to give billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, income tax break to the top 1 or 2% of the country. That is BS. And for the lapdogs that we have represented now, except for one in DC, they are a crying shame. I think that some of the senators, Coleman, would flip on the green, knowing that these people up there supposedly represent students in Mississippi. Forget the black people, they not represent white people. I'm not going to say more because I only have an MA in history. I wish some of the PhDs in history and politics at True Blue and at Jackson State will call your show. This is the time. Speak about your expertise, not just in the classroom. Speak about it for the benefit of the state, particularly here in the city of Jackson.
Help
Thank
people
you.
understand. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, Larry, but yeah. Thank you very much.
That's okay. That's okay.
Thank you for calling, Brother Walker.
But as I was saying, Judge, it's important that a person register to vote in order to be able to vote. He has or she has to turn 18 years old at least by the election day. Then he or she is eligible to vote. As I stated earlier, he or she must live in Hinds County. And of course, he or she has to register with the Hinds County Circuit Court office, which your Hinds County Circuit Court would be Zach Wallace
Yeah.
here, and he can be reached at 601-968-6628. 601-968-6628. And then, of course, Judge, the preparation after being registered, he will be given a precinct where he currently lives, however she. Then, of course, he must or she must bring a valid ID. And then he or she must know the election dates as well. And of course, if he moved between the time or she moves, she or he would need to give an update on his or her address as well. Then, of course, on the election day, the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Judge, it's important. I can't stress it enough. The importance of registering to vote and going to vote. It's so important. It's like blood from a turnip, so to speak.
Mhm.
That won't happen. But going to vote, that can happen, and
That's
it
a,
will
that's
happen.
a citizen responsibility that, we want everyone to understand. And for some people out there having a misconception, I'm not a taxpayer. It's very difficult not to be a taxpayer, first of all.
Right.
But, if you think that you got to own some particular property or even have a job to go and vote, that's not true. As a matter of fact, even if you don't have a job, if you're spending money, you're a taxpayer. I mean, anybody living, somebody living unless they in a coma in the hospital, and even then somebody's spending money on their behalf for them to be there. So you are a taxpayer, and that's a right that you have and a responsibility that we have, because we got to see some progress. We got to see some progress. And I'm saying, one of the key factors, when you start saying, who should I start seeing what these people, what are they doing before they seeking these offices? And then once they get in these offices, see if they fulfill their promises. Because too often you don't hear nobody running for any office, I don't care what it is, saying, I don't know what to do. They all got a plan, and then with their plan vanishes once they get in office. So a good indication of what they might do is what they've been doing before they decided to run for office. Have you seen them? Have they been involved in anything? And that is a good indication. But we want people to understand the voting power, because they've used every type of trick, every kind of trick that they can use to keep African Americans in this state from voting. Sending us to prison and saying, well, you go to prison, you lose your right to vote. Why, if you go to prison for anything and serve your time, why should that deny you the right to vote once you have paid your penance to society? See, that's something we got to deal with as well. But one reason or another, voting don't matter. They put that out in our community, so people think, well, I can't vote, or voting ain't gonna matter, it's gonna stay the same. All of that is not true. And what we got to do, we got to really understand that, first of all, register and exercise that right to put people in office that will make things better for us. In Jackson and Hinds County, we got so many things going that needs to be addressed, that really needs to be addressed. That, sometimes people run for these offices and don't even know what the responsibilities of the office are. They're just looking for the status of whatever else they're looking for. But they really don't understand the responsibilities of the office. We can't afford that anymore. We can't afford it. So as Larry White is saying here, that process of registering to vote, it makes you eligible to vote for any election that's held in the state, and then federal elections. Our congressperson, our United States senator, president, you're eligible to vote for that. And again, I've heard somebody ask, do you have to pay? And one time, Mississippi, they were charging black folks to go and vote. Think about that now. They call it a poll tax. And you say, well, how do I pay this poll tax? They wouldn't tell you. But then you have to come down there with some kind of receipt that you paid a poll tax in order to vote.
Right.
See, that was another one of the schemes that they use. So I've seen, as the brother called earlier, those of us who was part of that effort. And the effort goes on. It ain't dead. The effort goes on. I say many times, I saw a black man get stabbed in the back by a white dude. I was about 13. Got stabbed in the back for what? He was outside, he's standing in front of the store registering black folks to vote. Guy came up and stabbed him in the back. I said, now this guy, I guess they was supposed to scare everybody. With a knife. I ain't talking about just poked him with an umbrella or something like that. Jacob McEvers shot down in his driveway at night, coming home from registering the people to vote. Vernon Damon, house set on fire with the family in there. Registering people to vote. People lost their jobs. People beaten. Run out of, if they could, literally run out of town. See, that mindset that they want to bring back, that they want to have, because a lot of people don't even realize that mindset that Charlie Kirk had, that Klan mentality, the Ku Klux Klan mentality, the whole effort was to run black people out of the South. A lot of us went straight north. That's why they call Chicago, Mississippi up north. But they understand in a society where voting is so important, you have to diminish the voting pool. Go ahead, Carly, on there.
Hey, yeah, I got 3 things real quick.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna brief them off. For the first thing, the food stamps and things with the government shut down, I think that is very good because that will actually show how many people that's not black on food stamps. And the more it goes on, the more it's gonna come out. That's number one.
Right.
Number 2, why can't JPS or Jackson Public Schools really show the history of who created the first stop sign, red light, this, and this. Teach our kids on us, including some of the white, I ain't trying to be racist, including some of the white people and what they did or whatever, but more of us too. Why can't we take control and say, hey, this is what we're going to teach our kids?
Right.
Not, but everybody want to teach the kids that's regular. Why can't we step in and say that? That's number 2. And number 3, voting. I hear you saying about Brother Larry about registering to vote, this, and this. But I think with our, I didn't go with my mom or dad. Well, my mom or dad to the voting polls when they used to vote. I didn't do that until I was 18 and able to vote. But when I did go, when I was able to vote, I saw the white parents bringing their kids to the polls with them, whether they could vote or not, but they were still there to know, hey, that's a process. This is something we do. Hey, you have to vote. So I think that's a real big thing with the black community, the parents taking the kids when they're young, showing them, just like I went to homecoming games, and it's, hey, this is what we do.
Right.
I think that is so important that parents, we start taking their kids to the polls, whether they can vote or not, still take them when they're young so they can know, hey, this is something that we need to do. And then they explain to them, hey, this is what we need to do voting wise, and this is the reason why. But I'll let y'all have it. Just continue to do what you think. And Brother Larry, keep on hanging, as they say.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Your Judge, county election.
Take this call
Okay.
here. Go ahead, Carly, on there.
Thanks for taking my call, Judge.
Hey, Brother Jackson, you all right, brother?
Hey, Reverend.
Man, I'm doing 1,000 sideways.
You and Larry, boy, y'all come up with some praises for me, boy.
Larry and I are old school.
Yes, sir.
Old school.
You got that right.
Judge, let me say this. You got a wonderful guest there tonight,
Thank
Brother
you.
Larry, and I appreciate him. We need more people that concern and care about people's not about the dollar.
Come on with it.
Now, you know, and I know, when black folks could not drive a car.
Come on.
Now we got more cars. We got more blacks down there. Nobody concerned about the water. Nobody concerned about the street, but they're down there.
Uh-huh.
And we put them down there.
Sure did.
Now, these that are running right now, they done said some beautiful speeches. They even act like they're going to go to crying over the phone, telling folks what they're going to do. When they get down there,
Come on, Rev.
and get up in that building down there, get to drinking that good whiskey and eat that cheese
Mhm.
and eat them good sandwiches. They forget about from which they come.
Yes, sir.
But let me say this, Jerry, to make a long story short. I did not see a man when we stood against the Klan. I didn't see him there. When we told the Klan they wasn't gonna march here in Jack, I didn't see none of those fellas.
Right.
I did not see none of those fellas when we left Rose Street on Lance Street
Mm-hmm.
in the back of a garbage truck with maggazines in them,
Mm-hmm.
going to the fairground.
Right.
I didn't see none of those fellas. I didn't see none.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see none of them when we went downtown to register to vote, and that white man with a bald head didn't know his name from Carbox letters,
Mm-hmm.
asking people how many bubbles in the bar of soap. And he said, "What you down here for?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, I come to register to vote. You need to get out of here. I said, before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. Well, let me ask you a question. The tobacco spitting all out his mouth, all over everything. How many bubbles in a bar of soap? I say, all of them. You sign when they get your so-and-so out of here.
Right.
And don't you come back again.
There you go.
We went through total hell. And it kind of, I looked at a lot of the people that is running. I don't know where they went to school. They don't never say they can't do the job.
Right.
They always got a plan. They got more plan, and that's all they got, but no action.
No action. No
And
action.
last but not least, Brother Larry, if you would tonight, hit on that about the water bill and what restriction to take place, if you please. Give Judge a flyer and let us see. You got to have action, and I thank God for the action fixing to be taken on that.
Well, we're gonna let him get into that, Reverend Jackson, right now. Thank you for even bringing that up, brother.
And thank you, Judge. And Judge, I like your commercial that you got there.
I thank you.
You listen, man. You sound like you went over to Thurwood Marshall School.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And thank you, Judge. And brother, whatever you need, I'm just as close to your eyeglasses on your eyes. You be blessed. Stand strong. Keep doing what you're doing, Judge.
Thank you, brother.
Don't give out.
Can't do it, Reverend
Don't give
Jackson.
out, but don't give up.
No, you're absolutely right. We're gonna let Brother Larry here go on and chime in on that so we can get that out there.
And I yield to give Brother Larry the rest of the time.
Thank you, Reverend Jackson. Yeah, Brother Larry.
He's exactly right. But county elections, Judge, decides who's going to oversee your roads, your courts, and your public safety. That's why it's so important to get out and pre-register or register to vote and go out and vote, because those persons will oversee your courts, your roads, your public safety. And it's very important, as you were saying earlier, for the last 20 plus years, 28 years, this county, this city has been ultimately controlled by us.
By us. You know, and we act like that when white folks left Jackson en masse, and that's a fact, that they packed up all the money and took it with them. And that's not a fact. There's no law, there's no, somebody please tell me if there ever have been one, where black folks didn't pay taxes, where we didn't have to pay tax. That our tax dollars went somewhere else when white folks moved too. That's not the truth. And so until we get people in these offices who really understand what their role is who really understand that they're there to serve the people, we're going to continue to get what we're getting. We talk about our roads tearing up our cars. Brother Larry, y'all going to have a town hall meeting about these water bills.
Right.
Common sense we saying. Common sense. Why do people think that we can't add 2 and 2? Why do they think that we can accept a person in a residential home having a water bill of $7,000 and $8,000? Well, they didn't pay their water for a year or two. Well, that still wouldn't amount to $7,000 or $8,000.
That's right.
If a person was paying $100 a month for their water bills, that ain't but $1,200 a month, a year.
That's correct.
So you gonna tell me they haven't paid water in 7 years? That we can't have. Our school system with a budget. Now the mayor, and the city council, because I keep saying this, I don't want nobody to misunderstand. The mayor and the city council determine who sits on our school boards. And the school board determine who the superintendent are. We have one, but now we got 14. The main one making $280,000 a year. They complaining that they don't have enough money to run the schools, but they got enough money to give him a $50,000 a year raise. Why does that make sense? The budget larger than the whole budget for the city of Jackson and 17,000 students. Where is the money going? The school board is responsible for that. The superintendent over there is responsible for that. Then they come out and do these TV news blurbs about they got some program that some few students are going to benefit from. What about the rest of those 32,000 youth between the age of 5 and 18? What about them? When you got a school up here in DeSoto County with a budget smaller and 30-some thousand students, and they rated A. And here we got a school, just because we're in Jackson, it takes more money, $434 million and 17,000 students, and rated moderate. That means barely making. These are facts. That they act like we can do this to them. They don't know no better. They don't know any better. We can say we need more money. They give this guy a $50,000 raise like he's doing. If he was doing that well, our school, come on with it. Now, people who got sense, they wouldn't be leaving the schools if they were doing good. So we should be put off and just downright insulted. These are our future. These are our children. And look at us, again, the city. Now, we got a new administration over there. If they think they're going to have it easy, they ain't going to have it easy coming out of him. It's time for things to change. The last 3 weeks, I've had city councilman in here, Ashby Foote. I've had Peter Taverson in here last week, trying to explain this settlement about the property we own over there in Rankin County. Still some questions. And as long as you got questions, I'm going to try to have them in here, so they need to be answered. Because first of all, these are the type of things that we were talking about. These are the type of issues that should have been brought to the community, out to the community before the decision was made. That they treat us like we'll tell you afterwards. Ain't nothing you can do about it then. It's that the ink is dry. Tell us before you sign on the dotted line. You see, that's why we got 7 council people over there and 1 mayor. It's supposed to be the mayor is supposed to do whatever a proposal or plan he has running through the city council, and those city council members are supposed to be going out into their wards and informing their wards of what this proposal is and getting input from their ward before they come back and vote on it. But do you see how things are being done? When we hear about it, the ink is dry. When we hear about it, this is what we gonna do. That ain't how they ran. That's not what they said when they come out there before I vote. That's not how they said they were gonna do it. There's a reason why things get messed up when people don't follow the rules. But here we are. We are the government. We are the government. The mayor is black. 5 members on the city council, black, of 5 out of 7. Hinds County Board of Supervisors, 5 members, all 5 are black. Superintendent of school, black, and his underlings. 5 members off the school board of 7, 1 from each ward, black. So how they gonna spend any money without our okay? $1 billion spent every year. Not a dollar can be spent, not a dime can be spent, unless some black folks say what it's gonna be spent on. They don't have to go over there to the legislature. That's majority white, so they don't have to put it on them. They don't have to go over there and say, well, we were getting ready to spend money on this. They want us to be confused. They want us to understand that our voting power makes a difference. And especially since we garnering back the numbers that we used to have before the 40s. See, when the Klan was real strong back in the 40s, the whole aim was to run black people out of the South. That was it. And black folks had to move. Some young folks, you talk to some young people today, young black folks, man, I couldn't have lived back then. I couldn't have lived back then. Well, they right. That's why so many of us up in, their relatives up north now. They felt the same way. But now, they're coming back home. And we need to understand we can make a difference. The governor won't be making jokes about Jackson if we voted. None of them up in those state positions will be making jokes about Jackson or Hinds County if we voted. But they figure we ain't. And as long as we keep falling for the scheme that they show us, that we putting people in office who really don't have a plan for us. So we get discouraged. They understand that. It don't take much to see that we haven't had a plan put in place here in Jackson or Hinds County. So how do we make a difference? By doing what Brother Larry and other members of the community, they having a community meeting. That's
is the community meeting, Judge, is going to be water bills and airport deals, Tuesday, November the 25th at 6 p.m. at Georgetown Event Center. That's 800 Woodrow Wilson Avenue here in Jackson. The community meeting is going to be on water bills and the airport deal on Tuesday, November the 25th at 6 p.m. at the Georgetown Event Center. Now, Judge, that's next to the funeral home, Jackson Memorial, on
Right.
the same side. And of course, also we want people to understand if you have an outrageous water bill, we would like for you to bring your water bill. If the water bill is $200 a month or more, or bring a copy to leave with us. If your water bill's $1,000 or more per month, bring your water bill and leave it with us. And again, as I stated earlier, we're gonna discuss your land and your airport. This is the citizens of Jackson land who owns that airport, the citizens of Jackson. That's who own the airport. As you have stated, you need to come talk to the citizens before you make decisions and sign the ink on a piece of paper. Judge, you're exactly right, and we totally agree. Again, the community meeting on water bill and the airport bill deal is Tuesday, November the 25th at 6 p.m. at Georgetown Event Center. Georgetown Event Center is located at 800 Woodrow Wilson Avenue here in Jackson.
We'll call you on there.
Yeah, you know, I'm Mr. Chester and your guest Larry.
Do
I
as
was
well.
passing by the TV the other day, and I thought I heard they were supposed to be having the hearing before Judge Wingate tomorrow on the 13th about the water situation. My question is, my water has gone up in the last 3 months, at least $11 each month. My neighbor's waters have done the same thing. My
Right.
point is that for the water, now, in my prayers that I was taught, they say, forgive my debt if I forgive my debtors. That's my daily prayer. Now, how is it you take water, and water is a necessity, not like
Yes, it
gas
is.
or not like light bill. But water is a necessity to live. And here's somewhere we don't have no compassion for our fellow man that we've cut his water off and he's not able to get water even in 7 years, because you can file bankruptcy and get water and get reinstated your credit in 7 years. But when
Right.
they cut his water, you can't get no water back until you pay your bill.
Right.
They've taken this water and used it as a weapon against the honest. I don't matter whether they're honest or dishonest, but a human being in the city of Jackson, they take their water and use it as a weapon. And my point is, how did we get this? But I voted for all. I've been voting for the last 51 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like my vote has got us in this predicament that we're in today. And I'm saying, you all keep talking about vote. I'm saying we don't have anything. There's no benefit for living in the city of Jackson today. No, not one benefit.
Well,
And
you,
we paid for water all these years. We own the water system. We gave somebody else to use it as a weapon against the poor people, the elderly people. Come on, man.
you're making some good points there, Colin. We can't argue with
Yeah,
that.
baby.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Make sure you come out, sir,
Yes,
to the
sir.
meeting on the 25th at 6 p.m. at the Georgetown Event Center. That's the community meeting on the water bills as well as the airport deal. And again, we would like for you to bring and make a copy of your water bill and leave it with us as well. If you
Right.
have any other questions concerning that, you can dial 601-918-4353, or
You're
you
there,
can
Carl.
dial 601-760-2398.
You're on there, Colin.
Good evening, Judge. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Good to hear your voice.
Yes, sir. I'm so happy I was able to catch your show tonight. But what I wanted to say is that it was just a matter of time with that deal with the airport, something go down with that airport stuff. We already knew John Ho was gonna do what he was gonna do with the airport. But every store they put up on our land in Rankin County, it needs to have the city of Jackson name in it. So when you gonna put a belt up, it need to be Jacksonville. If you gonna put a convenience store, it need to be Jackson convenience store. That belongs to us and does not. And John Horn had no business giving our stuff away so soon. I'll be there. I will be there, Mr. White.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Colin. You know, and that's what we're saying is that, you know, just the idea or the perception could have been avoided had this issue been brought out into the community before documents were signed. Because people still got questions. And I'm just saying, if the mayor wanted to have his reputation as not solid, then do what you said. Be transparent. Be transparent. And that's not trying to be negative about anything. It's just do things in the right way and make us feel like we are respected. And that's one of the things that this society refused to try to do, and it's even worse when we do it to ourselves. And that is not show us that we respect each other, that we know we're intelligent people. So again, what with the meetings?
Community meeting on water bills and airport deal would be Tuesday, November the 25th, 6 p.m. at the Georgetown Event Center, 800 West Woodrow Wilson Avenue here in Jackson, Mississippi. Please, people, come out, bring your water bills, be prepared to leave them with us, leave a copy with us. And again, we're going to discuss, it's your land and your airport. We're going to discuss that at length as well. So please come out on the community meeting on November the 25th at 6 o'clock at the Georgetown Event Center, which is located 800 West Woodrow Wilson Avenue here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Well, I hope the mayor's listening. Probably he'll be there too. The mayor.
Well, we ain't inviting him.
Well,
He's
the mayor of the city.
He should have made his own meeting. We ain't invited.
He's the mayor
We
of the
want
city.
that to be known. You're not invited, sir.
Yeah, well, he's the mayor of the city. I think he should have a spot to come out there and address the people.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we should always respect ourselves.
That's correct.
And that I'm just saying, anybody we put in these offices, once they get there, they think they're above us. The school board, I think, is the worst. Doctor this and doctor that and doctor this, and then making the type of decisions that they're making.
Right.
It don't stand to reason. But that just shows the lack of respect that they have for us as a body of people. And again, that's what this show is about, people. We're talking about, we're bringing facts to you. We're going to have these community meetings. And I, for one, I'm never going to uninvite any of the elected officials. You come, you need to hear and feel the pulse of the people. You need to understand that we want our voice. That goes along with voting. We want our voice.
That's correct.
So
your vote is your voice.
don't get discouraged. I hear the call and saying, and that's what I've been saying. For almost 30 years now, we've been putting people in office, and the only ones that benefited wholeheartedly from these positions that we feel is the person we put in the position. The rest of us, come what may, we just have to deal with it.
That's right.
And we shouldn't have to be living like that. Now, there's so many issues in Jackson, and you keep getting people saying, I got the plan, I know what to do until they get in office.
Right.
Now, we still got some elections coming up. This runoff, of course, they got the runoff coming. Take a look at who's running. Where have you seen them? Have you seen them? What have they been doing? Have they shown themselves to have any interest in the city, in the community, at all? So then you that would help make a decision, not just who can make a flowery commercial. Commercials, they'll say whatever you want them to say. You're paying them to do that. But what has your personal experience been with whoever this person is saying that they run? What's your personal experience been? So that's a good indication right there. But we're going to continue to talk about voter registration. I appreciate Brother Larry coming in tonight. I was almost to the last minute, but I appreciate him coming in. And we got to make people understand we ain't putting you in office and then just look the other way.
Correct.
Those days are over. Those days are over. We have suffered under that. We're not suffering in silence anymore. So one last time, this meeting's going to be?
It's going to be November the 25th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the community meeting, Georgetown Event Center, at 800 West Woodrow Wilson Avenue here in Jackson, Mississippi. Again, the community meeting on water bills and the airport deal will be Tuesday, November the 25th, 6 p.m. at Georgetown Event Center, which is located at 800 West Woodrow Wilson Avenue here in Jackson, Mississippi.
And again, I appreciate the calls that we got, that we get. And always, we talking about the facts. Anytime you want to call in and chime in on your ideas or your perception about what's going on in Jackson or Hinds County or the state, this is the program. Standing for the people. I'm Ali Shamsuddin. And until next Wednesday, 7 p.m., we'll be here. Take us out, Handy. So now,
Hit that red button, said end, and then hit it again. Hit it 2 times.